Welcome to the lesson, Transitive and Intransitive Verbs. After completing this lesson, you will be able to define transitive and intransitive verbs, identify transitive and intransitive verbs, identify intransitive verbs followed by prepositional and adverbial phrases. Keya and Amir have planned to visit the bakery in their neighborhood. Keya has already decided that she will buy the strawberry shortcake. When Amir hears her say this, he replies that he will wait quietly. Amir is enjoying the use of transitive and intransitive verbs. He informs Keya that she used a transitive verb and that he replied using an intransitive verb. Since Keya does not know about these verbs, Amir decides to teach her about it on the way to the bakery. Let us also learn about transitive and intransitive verbs. A verb is a word or a group of words that shows what someone or something does, what state someone or something is in. A verb indicates an action, event, or a state of being. Consider the examples in the following table. They demonstrate how a verb can be used to indicate an action, event, or state of being. Keep in mind, a sentence will not make any sense without a verb. Verbs can be divided into transitive and intransitive verbs. A transitive verb is a verb that takes an object. The action or event involves another person or thing referred to as an object. For example, Vicky caught the ball. In this sentence, the object is the ball. The transitive verb shows an action that passes over from the subject or doer to the object. The action of catching is passed on from the doer, Vicky, to the object, ball. So, the sentence begins with a subject and ends with an object. Take a look at this table for some more examples of transitive verbs. Sometimes, a transitive verb takes two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. The direct object relates to the verb and is affected by the action of the verb, while an indirect object indicates the person who benefits from the action or receives something as a result. For example, I gave him a sweet. The direct object sweet relates to the verb give. The indirect object him benefits from the action of giving. Examples of transitive verbs that take two objects are teach, ask, pay, refuse, deny, offer, promise, tell, show, give. A verb that has no object is called an intransitive verb. It shows an action without an object or a state of being. For example, Amy sings loudly. The verb sings is an intransitive verb in this sentence. The action begins and ends with the subject. Only the performer of the action and the action are mentioned. An object is not required to complete the meaning of the sentence. An intransitive verb can be followed by a subject complement, a prepositional phrase, an adverb of time, or an adverbial particle. Let us read the following sentences. Paula is my cousin. My cousin is a subject complement of Paula. They walked to the park. To the park is a prepositional phrase that follows the intransitive verb walked. You arrived late. The verb arrived is followed by the adverb late indicating time. The bird flew away. Away is an adverbial particle. Adverbial particles are a group of words with characteristics of their own. Up, down, in, out, on, off, away, back. Certain intransitive verbs are followed by prepositional phrases. Omission of a preposition in such cases results in incorrect sentences. We must always say, I went to the bookstore and not, I went the bookstore. Similarly, we must say, I am searching for the game and not, I am searching the game. Here is a list of intransitive verbs with prepositions. Abstain from, refuse to, believe in, sympathize with, reply to, insist on, write to, object to, care for, think about, think of, depend on, etc. When verbs with prepositions are used in interrogative sentences, the preposition should not be omitted. It appears at the end of the question. For example, where are you coming from? What is she referring to? Take a look at these sentences given below. The balloon burst. She spun around. The action that takes place occurs to the subject of the sentence. The balloon burst itself. She spun herself around. The subject is also the object in these sentences. The verbs are therefore used reflexively. They are considered to be purely intransitive. Verbs can be used both transitively and intransitively. It depends on the sentence used. Consider the following examples. Layla walked her dog. The transitive verb walked is followed by the object dog. Layla walked to the park. The intransitive verb walked has no object. It is followed by the prepositional phrase to the park. However, some verbs can only be used intransitively, such as fall, come, go, sleep, lie, etc. Remember, a sentence that contains a transitive verb is incomplete without an object. A sentence that contains an intransitive verb does not need an object. Certain transitive verbs are sometimes also used as intransitive verbs. Look at the following examples in the table below. She broke the toy. The transitive verb broke is followed by the object toy. The clock broke. The transitive verb broke is used as an intransitive verb. It does not take an object. Let us look at another sentence. Leave the book. The transitive verb leave takes the object book. We must leave at noon. The transitive verb leave is used as an intransitive verb. It is followed by the adverb of time, noon. Other transitive verbs that can be used as intransitive verbs are stop, open, burn, move, etc. Let us read the following examples of transitive and intransitive verbs. Amir and Kea are just outside the bakery. Let us revise the main points about transitive and intransitive verbs before they go inside. A verb indicates an action, event, or a state of being. Verbs can be divided into transitive and intransitive verbs. A transitive verb is a verb that takes an object. It shows an action that passes over from the subject or doer to the object. Sometimes a transitive verb takes two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. The direct object relates to the verb and is affected by the action of the verb. An indirect object indicates the person who benefits from the action or receives something as a result. Examples of transitive verbs that take two objects are teach, ask, pay, refuse, deny, offer, promise, tell, show, give. A verb that has no object is called an intransitive verb. It shows an action without an object or a state of being. An intransitive verb can be followed by a subject complement, a prepositional phrase, an adverb of time, or an adverbial particle. When intransitive verbs are followed by prepositional phrases, the preposition cannot be omitted. When verbs with prepositions are used in interrogative sentences, the preposition appears at the end of the question. Verbs that are used reflexively in a sentence are purely intransitive. Verbs can be used transitively or intransitively, depending on the sentence. Certain verbs, however, are only intransitive. Come, go, sleep, lie, fall, etc. A sentence that contains a transitive verb is incomplete without an object. A sentence that contains an intransitive verb does not need an object. Certain transitive verbs are used as intransitive verbs. Stop, go, break, leave, etc.